Hi, everybody. This is Lori Lamont from Female Empowerment EFT, and we're really lucky to have with us today Georgette Van Vliet. And she is the author of this book. Let me see if you can see it here. It's backwards, of course, for you. 11 Simply Brilliant Ideas for a Life of Love, Joy, and Abundance. And Georgette is not only an inspirational writer, but she's also a motivational speaker. And she's passionately promoting positive thinking and really making a difference in the world. She's helped many people focus on their joyous aspects of life. And through her own personal experiences and through deep, well-read knowledge, she offers practical tools that are for people so that they can find that love and that joy and that abundance in their life. And she's just a wonderful, wonderful lady also. And she's been a part of our sisterhood here. So we've gotten to know her even better. So I just want to invite Georgette here so that she can share with everyone her gifts. So Georgette, welcome.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I appreciate it.
Of course. So Georgette, you wrote this book, and we were just talking about how it's really about putting yourself in a place where you're living your life through joy, right? Or feeling better. And I just wanted, maybe you could just talk a little bit about the foundation of your book and the basis of your book.
Sure. Many years ago, I was very depressed. I was struggling with life, even everything in life seemed to trip me up and it would make me more depressed. I just didn't have the skills to feel great. And I said, I developed the skills as I read and I researched and I went to workshops and I learned and I just pushed myself through because I really wanted this great life. Yeah. And I learned a lot and I feel better about my life. I knew that I had to share all my tips with people. And really, it's all about gratitude. It's all about, it's all about every day practicing, being your best self. And the more you do that and the better you feel, the more confidence you have. And when you're confident, of course you can lose weight. Of course you can apply for that new job and get it, or attract a soulmate that you're looking for. Feeling good is really the foundation of having a great life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you did just have the opportunity of doing the sisterhood, like the winter series of the sisterhood. Do you feel like that helped you with your with your feeling good and putting you into the right maybe alignment or mode of having that positive life?
Tremendously. I think feeling good and having some tools in my back pocket as we did the sisterhood, and I learned so much about myself, and it was a tremendous growth. I didn't expect it. I thought I was going to lose a few pounds. I just didn't realize I was going to learn so much about myself. But I think having that positive feeling and knowing that, okay, so I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to exercising, but I'm going to push myself through it, was so much better for me because I was able to persevere. I was able to take it and be determined and go to that next level with everything that we learned through the sisterhood. It was wonderful.
Oh, good. And I mean, you even talk about these things here in your book, which is wonderful. So I feel like the sisterhood is almost like just like an extension of your book, sort of, I mean, your book has so many strong principles in there. And I think we use a lot of them in the sisterhood, mainly, the self-love and the self-care and doing what's right for yourself, I mean, just putting yourself first, which so many women
right it resonates with all of us. You can never hear the message enough because we're all so hard on ourselves. I can't tell you how often I say, Georgette, ease down, go easy on yourself. You'll lose the weight, or it's okay if you go for a walk and you're not power walking. It's okay if you just take it easy today. So I think that no matter whether it's in my book or through the sisterhood or wherever we hear it, it's just we can never hear it enough.
Right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I thought as I was going through your book again, I did read it a while ago. I was going through it again today, and you have it broken down to 11 brilliant steps, and the brilliant self-care, which I thought was so important for all of us to be reminded, whether we're doing a group or we're just doing it on our own, or it's that. I just didn't know if maybe you had any words of wisdom of the importance of that self-care, the that importance of putting yourself first and following, what you believe is best for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I've wanted to do the sisterhood for years, but of course, everything else is a priority. But me, this year I was determined to make myself a priority.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote my chapter on self-care and Brilliant Body. I'm always reading it. I'm always working on those practices because I'm human. And
Right.
and I'm always, and I love those practices, and there are so many more, obviously, but I love what I wrote about. And I have to, gently keep reminding myself, take care of Georgette, take care of Georgette. So same thing with the sisterhood. It was just a beautiful reminder, and also to be with so many other women. I love that there were so many other women there who were honest and going through the same thing. Who are we kidding? We're all doing this. We're all doing this every day. We're all having to remind ourselves to put ourselves first. So I will definitely do the sisterhood again because I believe in that. I believe that it helped me stay focused. It reminded me that, we're going to, reminded me to tap. And I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but through the 12-week program, what's happened now is the tapping has become just a normal part of my day. In the car, I'm doing this. I'm hoping no one's watching me, but I'm tapping because the minute I'm overwhelmed, the minute something gets triggered, I know where to go. I know that just brings me down, and it's a beautiful tip that I really appreciate that you've shared with us.
That's excellent. And I think one of my favorite parts of the sisterhood is that when one person shares something, there's at least a few more have to say yes, if not everyone is nodding along, right? I mean,
absolutely.
You're never alone. There's always, even if you think that your issue is so quirky and unusual, there's somebody else that had almost the exact same experience, maybe a different food type or whatever, but almost the same experience.
When I wrote my book, and the book is so raw because it's so personal. Mm-hmm. And the first time I handed my book to someone, I was so vulnerable because I thought, I assumed people had these issues, but I don't know. And It's interesting, the more I share my book, the more I speak my motivational speeches. And sometimes when I'm speaking, I hesitate and I think, do you really want to share this story, Georgette? But every story that I share of my hardships and my struggles, and also my disappointments and the times that I'm struggling to eat better or deal with people or whatever it is I'm talking about, everyone in the audience is shaking their head. People are all looking for help. That we're all struggling in a way. Of course, we're all doing well, but it's nice to know that other people are in it with us, and that we're all looking for a solution, or we're all trying to be successful with our weight loss or whatever it may be.
That's exactly you put it perfectly. I completely resonate with you with that. And I like what you were also saying about how the sisterhood kind of forced you out of your comfort zone.
That was, first, let me acknowledge you. I think the reason we were all so comfortable is because you're so gentle. You're not judgmental. That really helped. Being a part of the sisterhood and knowing that I could say to you in a video, I didn't do well this week. I ate too much, or I did pick, or whatever we were discussing, whatever theme we were focusing on, and knowing that you were going to help us tap through it, give us some solutions was huge. It allowed me to be comfortable to have that conversation. So I really appreciate that. And I do have to laugh. I'm going to share again something vulnerable. Pushing myself through my comfort zone. And I do it all the time, but I didn't even realize that there were things I was doing before we spoke in the sisterhood, like my excuses. Oh, I'm too tired to exercise. I work full time. I have to take care of my son. And that one day in the sisterhood thinking, oh my, I really got it that day. And I promised myself to go to the gym the next night. I bawled my eyes out because I was so uncomfortable. And this is my favorite part. I yawn all the time at the gym. Like, I'm always yawning during the class, but I think it's funny now because I am tired. But guess what? I'm going to the gym. Right. So I did have to push myself. I'm telling the crying part. I was laughing while I was crying. I was laughing. I was like, wow, you're that uncomfortable, doing this. But I did.
And then at the same time, though, you were a role model for the other women in the group. The other women felt so inspired by what you were sharing. I mean, it's just that beautiful relationship that kind of comes from, you can't really get that from doing it on your own, I don't think.
And some of those women, I loved the age range. We were all over the spectrum, And everybody was struggling. It didn't matter if they were 18, if they were 65, if they were 50. That was interesting to me, to see the genuineness of the women. And I felt it. I felt very connected to them, and I felt inspired by their stories. Everyone shared a story, and it was like, wow, she's, she went to her daughter's bridal shower and she didn't overeat. Like, she was able to do that. Like, it was just very powerful to be around so many women of all ages who were just as raw and willing to share and work hard at this.
Right. It's that collaboration. It's really everyone coming together that makes all the world of a difference. And the tapping makes a big difference too. I love that you're tapping on your own now and that you're using it more.
I tap all the time. I tap about everything, because you know what I realized too? So I didn't get to my ideal weight, but I realized through the sisterhood, it's coming. It's definitely coming. Like, I have to just be patient. I'm changing a lot of habits that I wasn't aware of. I'm making great changes in my life. So I love that I can tap on anything. I can tap on, okay, like sometimes, and I'm sure other people feel this way, like at work I get anxiety. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay to be a little anxious. You're going to be okay. You're going to get your work done. And then I'm okay. Then I move on. So the tapping has transcended all areas of my life. And it's been a wonderful tool because it's quick. I can do it in a minute or two.
Yep.
And then get centered and move on with my day. So that's been a great tool for me to add to my toolkit.
Absolutely. And you were saying that you felt like a lot has changed over the last 12 weeks or so in your life. So can you share any of those? You don't have to get too personal, but are there any?
But I will. I'll get very personal. So 12 weeks ago, whenever it started, I thought I was going to lose a few pounds, right?
Right.
Well, my whole life changed. My son started doing better in school from my tapping, because I was looking for areas in my life where I'm stuck. Help me get through my stuckness. Where am I stuck? Where I want to change some things in my life. My husband painted the whole house. Every room in the house is painted, and it's beautiful and it's fresh. We've cleaned out everything. We have like feng shuied the whole house. This just happened naturally. It wasn't even I didn't make it happen. I didn't force anyone to do it. Just a natural progression that happened. It just feels good even talking about it. We've cleaned up our eating habits, the whole family. We're eating better. We're food shopping. And even like when we're eating out, we're like, I'd rather eat at home. I'd rather eat a better meal at home. So just the flow of things in the house, it was just an incredible, what's the word, like an outburst of the tapping. And I do relate it to the tapping because I don't know if I told you, one day when we got off the conference call, I just made a list of I don't know what we were talking about. Probably it was the excuses day or just days we were talking about being stuck. I made a list of all the places where I'm stuck in my life, and that's where everything cleared up.
Excellent.
So I don't think that's a coincidence. I do think it was a result of my wanting to tap, my wanting to always be better, and doing the tapping. So it was incredible.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's so fantastic. Oh, I'm just like speechless.
Right?
This is everything we could ever want, right? Is to have this well-rounded, balanced, and just like you were saying before, I don't know if it was before we started recording or not, but when you were saying letting go of that victimhood mentality, letting go of those excuses, which is what you're just talking about now, is by letting go of those excuses, you're able to create room for all the good, and that all the cleansing.
And I remember I just remembered the day of the tapping with the victimhood. We were tapping on why am I not losing weight? Remember that one day we were all a little stuck.
Yep.
When we were tapping that day, and you asked us, well, how are you? What's the benefit of not losing weight? Like what's in it for you that you're not losing the weight? And I realized that, and it's in my book, so I'm something that I've already discussed. I've definitely grown up with a little bit of victimhood. And I thought I released it, but that day when I was tapping, I was like, oh, I am a victim here. Oh, poor Georgette didn't lose the weight. It's hard for Georgette. And it was like, wow, no, I don't want that. So that was a huge breakthrough. That feels good even saying that was a huge breakthrough. No. We're not a victim here. We're gonna do this. We can be our best self every day, whatever that may be, and we're gonna do this, even if it takes time. And that's the other thing I think that I love that came out of the sisterhood. it didn't have to happen in 12 weeks. It's okay. This is a journey. I'm on this journey, and every day I get better. Every day I learn a better habit. Every day I'm doing something differently. So I feel good about that. I'm not worried or stressed out, like, why isn't it coming off? I'm okay. It's nice.
Right. And you don't want to have like a crash diet and lose all, like, I mean, because then that's when you have the yo-yo, right? And then, I mean, I've seen it in so many people where they drop all the weight drastically, and then a year later they've gained it back, and then more so. And the body goes through something. It took a long time. The way I see it, it took a long time to put on this weight, because we took on all those beliefs, all that programming, and it takes time to let it all go.
That's one of the things I think I loved about the program is that was never even a conversation. None of us ever even, we were there for the long haul. Right. I think we all, and also, Lori, there was something about the program, you and the other women, and I have to say this again, when you're working with people and you can be comfortable, you can say what's on your mind, and you can admit that I didn't lose weight, and there's no judgment, and everyone was supportive. That was a beautiful part of the program that I loved. I loved that feeling of community. I knew Monday nights I was going to be in my community.
Right.
That's important, I think, for people to feel that, you're not going to be judged here. We're people, we're all busy, everyone's working, people are tired, people had stories to tell, people have family issues going on. That's normal life, it was nice to be able to share it and feel comfortable about that.
That's excellent. I'm so glad.
Thank you.
I feel so honored to have had you in the group and to have been able to work with you and see you working with other people. And you were just such a role model in the group. Obviously, I mean, this is your calling. Is to share all of this with the world. Whether it's with your book or if it's with talking, giving presentations. I mean, it's obvious that this is what you're made to be doing, which is so
I guess I'm a little bit like you in the sense that I do make people feel comfortable. I'm not judgmental, and I am here to help. So we're similar in that way, that I'm passionate about helping people. I get it. I've been there. I feel like the book should have been called, been there, done that. It's just life, in life, if you don't have the tools, if years ago, I didn't have the tools. I always felt like a victim. If something happened, it was always poor me. Now I don't feel that way anymore. And I think that this, the sisterhood was nice. It was a nice collaboration.
Good. So I think we're going to wrap it up here, unless you have any more like words of wisdom you'd like to share, or is there anything else you'd like to share with anyone that may be considering, whether it's a sisterhood or, getting their hands on your book or getting to one of your talks, or I don't know, is there anything out there?
I do want to share something. I know that as women, we put ourselves last, like I did it for years. It wasn't that I didn't have the money to join the sisterhood, but I was paying for baseball practice and I was doing all these other things. The money was always there. So put yourself first. Don't be afraid. Don't feel guilty by joining a group that's going to support you and make you feel good and maybe help you meet your goals. Commit yourself to the Monday night or whatever night it may be. It's an hour and a half. You're worth it, and it's going to make you feel better. My only regret, I guess, is that I wish I had done it a couple of years ago when you first reached out to me, when we first met, because I would still be doing it. Like, I'm going to continue doing it with you. And I think it's an important tool for me to have, and there's nothing wrong with having a tool, finding a tool, and then keep using it. I want the support. I want to keep getting better. So I think it's important as women that we do that we, whatever we want to feel better, we go and we get it. We sign up for the class. We pay for the class. Then we continue it if it's working for us. I think it's important for us to have permission to do that.
That's perfect. You're absolutely right. Thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to reach out to Georgette, because she, obviously the book, and she does give talks, and I believe you also are coaching as well, right?
Yes. I'm an intuitive life coach.
Absolutely. So I can't believe I left that out at the beginning. So if anyone out there is interested in reaching out to Georgette, learning more about her, please share with us how we can find you.
Okay, so my website is georgettevanvliet.com. I think you're going to put that on the link.
It'll be on the link.
And on my website, you can reach out. You can email me. My events are there. My blog is there. I have a lot of inspirational, blogs. Again, things that are vulnerable, things that we all struggle with. I give you some great tips. So I look forward to hearing from you. Please reach out on my blog.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So thank you everyone for watching today, and All of the links that you'll need will be right there underneath, and please feel free to reach out to either of us. Take care, everybody.
Bye.